Why do you get bored with healthy and stable partners or feel like they just feel less exciting to you? Why do you constantly stay in relationships where you feel like you're not enough for somebody? And have you ever noticed that the relationships that you often become the most attached to are often the ones where you had to work the hardest to actually feel loved? Where you're constantly trying to prove yourself, trying to say the right thing, trying to be good enough for somebody, understanding enough, patient enough. And then when you finally get a little bit of attention, affection, or reassurance, it feels incredibly rewarding. But the moment it disappears, you're back to feeling anxious all over again. See, a lot of people with both anxious attachment style and even fearful avoidance often feel like they're addicted to love. But after working with tens of thousands of people who struggle with these patterns, what often becomes clear is something completely different. It's not love they're addicted to, it's the feeling of finally earning it. One of the biggest patterns that anxious attachment styles and fearful avoidance carry into relationships is the subconscious belief that love is something that must be earned through effort, through patience, or through proving your worth. And this usually is the result of past conditioning. We are all playing out in our adult lives our unresolved subconscious patterns from childhood. And one of the most common core wounds for anxious and fearful avoidance is the wound or belief that I am unworthy and that I am not good enough. See, you may have grown up in an environment or household where you only got love consistently if you were doing something for somebody or if you were achieving something. And what that does is trains your mind at a subconscious level to believe that, oh, if I get a A plus on my paper, then I'm worthy of love. If I score 2 goals in my soccer game, then I'm worthy of love, or then I'm good enough. Or if I'm taking care of somebody who's struggling in my family, then I actually get affection or approval. And if all of your conditioned associations to love and approval are that you get it specifically when you are doing something to earn it, then for you, you are deeply conditioned to believe that love is conditional. And that's a really hard thing to experience. And honestly, it has the capacity to really fracture your relationships and make them confusing, make you feel like you are shouldering the emotional burden of both parties in the relationship all the time. Anxious and fearful avoidance are often the emotional overfunctioners. They're the ones that take it all on their shoulders, try to do everything for everybody, and then feel like, wait, is anybody here to care about me? And the more unpredictable that somebody is with their affection and the relationships that you're in, the more powerful that reward can then start to feel because your brain begins to associate their approval also with a sense of relief and safety. But unpredictability in relationships tends to intensify our focus. Your brain starts scanning for the reward and wondering when the reward will come back. And relief then gets equated to love. And when you've been anxious or disconnected from somebody, even small amounts of affection or connection can feel huge relative to where you are coming from. And so you bond to this contrast more than you bond to this person. The swing between distress and relief ends up creating this very addictive cycle in relationships, all of which are highly likely to cause you to keep abandoning yourself. It's something we see all the time with anxious and fearful avoidance. They end up in relationship after relationship where they're doing all of the work. They feel alone while in the relationship with somebody else. And they feel like they are trying their heart out and pouring into everybody around them and don't often feel like that's in reciprocity. And yet, they still keep chasing and they still keep showing up, often to the point of burning themselves out completely when it comes to love. One of the clearest indicators that you've been stuck in this earning love cycle shows up in a very subtle behavior that not many people even realize that they're taking part in. And this is this idea that you get into relationships and you're not even vetting the other person. Healthy, secure people in relationships, do you know what they do? They end up getting into relationships knowing their needs, having healthy boundaries, and trying to see whether or not somebody is going to be a good fit for them. But a lot of what fearful avoidance and anxious attachment styles do is they get into relationships and they people please and they bend over backwards and they just hope that they'll win over that person's approval and that that person will finally choose them and think that they're enough because they did enough to earn that love. But the reality is it doesn't work like that. You don't get into a relationship with somebody and win their approval. That literally creates the premise for having all of your relationships in your life feel completely conditional. I just wanted to pop in here and let you know we are doing a 7-day free trial to the All Access Membership Pass at PDS, which means you get access to literally everything inside of the school. And this includes the 4 live webinars I do with our students every single week. And on top of that, you get access to all of our different courses. We have over 55 different courses on relationships, communication, boundaries, emotional mastery, guilt and shame, learning your needs, so many different facets that are really important to master our lives and feel really good about our lives going forward. And last but not least, there's a daily community event. We have trained facilitators and coaches who are in there doing that work, showing up to support you on your journey every single day. Please join me on the other side. Come check it out. See if it's a fit for you. I'd love to see you there. Go ahead and sign up by clicking the link in the description box below. So I want to ask you, do you actually know what your needs are in a relationship? Are you even vetting for them? Are you carving out space for what you want? Are you allowing yourself to take up space by expressing what you need? And if you're not, then you're going to stay on the hamster wheel of these same patterns. But when you heal this pattern, something surprising starts to happen. The relationships that once felt irresistible start to lose their emotional grip on you if you feel like you were always the one doing the relationship alone. And a really great exercise to kick this off is to start by learning what your boundaries need to be to break out of this cycle. So I want you to take a moment and I want you to look at your boundaries as a whole. I want you to think of your career area of life or the financial area of life or your friends and family relationships, romantic relationships. And I want you to ask yourself, where do I actually betray or violate my own boundaries in this particular area? For example, in the career area of life, maybe you constantly stay late at work for hours and hours on end, and yet for 2 years, you've been too afraid to ask your boss for a raise. In the financial area of life, maybe you always pay for all of your friends and family when you go out, but you never ask for somebody else to take a turn. I want you to really take a look. Where do you accidentally violate yourself? And when you've audited those different areas, career, financial area of life, romantic relationships, where do you not take up space or communicate your needs, friendships, family relationships, when you've actually taken a long, hard look, I want you to ask yourself, what would a self-respecting person do here instead? And a lot of the times, it might blow your mind a little bit at how much you've been missing that self-respect piece. And you'll see as you start to actually practice doing exposure work on setting boundaries, meaning titrating boundaries slowly but surely over time until they feel more normal and natural to you, that you're not actually really self-respecting much at all. To conclude, the desire to be loved, chosen, and valued is completely natural. But when your brain learns that it only comes with enough effort or patience or self-sacrifice, relationships can start to feel like something that you constantly have to work to deserve. And this is exhausting. Healing your attachment style doesn't actually mean that you have to stop caring deeply about people. That's not what I'm saying here. It means that you have to learn to love yourself equally to the way that you are giving love to others. And it means learning that love isn't something that you have to prove that you are worthy of all the time. Real secure love does not require you to shrink yourself, overextend yourself, and constantly fight for reassurance. And I promise you, that love exists. I want to hear your stories. Which of these examples did you see yourself most in? And what have you been doing or can you do to start actually changing it? Were you the person who constantly felt like you were unworthy and not good enough in relationships, or that was so addicted to the unpredictability that it felt like it was comfortable to your nervous system and familiar? Or are you somebody who never really vets when you start dating and getting into relationships? Now, remember, I post my research on these subjects daily, so you can consider subscribing to this channel if you don't want to miss any new information or any free gifts that I share from the Personal Development School. Thanks for watching.